Hello everybody, I think I'm live. Welcome to episode number 4, well part 4 of this live coding with WordPress, and we're going to carry on making our plugin today. We're making a plugin to try and control some of the content on archive pages in WordPress. And if you were with me last time, you'll have noticed that we had a bit of a nightmare last time. We didn't really manage to get anything working, so I must confess I've cheated a little bit, and off camera I've kind of debugged what was going wrong and tried to fix it. So I'll show you what I've done in order to be able to get that to work properly as well. Today's live coding session probably going to be a little bit of a shorter one, but what we're going to try and do is to output some stuff on those archive pages and see if we can get that working. So let's get started. Again, I've got to try and drive this software, so bear with me a second. I think if I click that button, there we go. So you should be able to see all of my screen now. If you are watching along in YouTube, please let me know who you are and where you are. That would be really good. Hi Mark, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see if we can mention some, and if you've got any questions as I'm going on, I'll try and keep my eye on them as well. Hi Elliot, thanks for joining us. So let's get started. So here is my WordPress install, my local WordPress install, eap.test. Let's just move this mic in front of me a little bit better here. Let me know if you can hear me okay, or if, more to the point, if you can't hear me okay. So I've got my browser open in here with the test site. We've got a custom post type called case studies, and the idea is we're going to have a post for each of these custom post types in order to be able to control the content on the archive page for that post type. So what we did last time, or what we struggled with last time, was we were trying to use, where's it gone, here it is, we were trying to use the registered post type action hook to be able to do something when a post type is registered. And what we wanted to do was to create a post which was going to be used to control the content on that particular post type archive. And when we were doing it, we kept doing it, and it kept creating multiple posts. So I finally got to the bottom of why. So what I thought we'd do is just quickly run through this function again, just to explain what's actually happening. So in fact, before I do that, I'm just going to go back to what I've done to help with this. So what I've created here is a function called EAP. That's just my prefix for this particular plugin. That's that you should always use a prefix, editable archive pages. And what I've created is an array for options. So I'm going to store things in an array here, and I've got a post types element of this array and a taxonomies. So anything to do with storing stuff for post type was going to go in here, and anything to do with stuff for taxonomies is going to go in here. And then when the plugin gets activated, so I've registered an activation hook, what we're going to do is we are going to update an option. We're actually going to create one, because update one creates one if you haven't got one, and save that array in the database. So basically, every time the plugin is activated, we know that option is going to be there. Then, on our registered post type hook functions that's hooked in here, we're basically saying that if the current registered post type is the one we've created to store our posts in, then we don't want to do anything for that one. If it doesn't have an archive, then we don't want to do anything for that one. And if it isn't viewable on the front end, so if it's a private post type, like one of the sort of internal ones in WordPress, like the reusable blocks or the customized CSS or that sort of thing, we don't want to do anything with that one. Then I'm going to get my options. So obviously, if this runs for the first time, this is just going to return this array, this empty array with these two elements in it. If the current post type is not added in the post types array, then what we need to do, that means there's no post being created for that particular post type. So we need to insert a post into our custom post type. We're going to use the post type name as the title. We're going to make sure it's a published post. And I've run these, allowed these to be run through a filter here, just in case someone wanted to add something else as a developer, another parameter that you could pass to WP insert post. If the result of that isn't 0, which basically means it hasn't failed, then we're going to save some metadata against the newly created post, which just tells us which post type that this belongs to. and then we're going to update our options array and then resave that again as well. So what happens then is if I flip back to the browser and go into the archive pages section, you can see that because I've got one post type which has got an archive page, because case studies, you can see I get one post created. Now last time when I was refreshing this, I kept getting hundreds of posts being created for the same thing, but obviously because that's now been saved in the options, that means that we're getting the correct thing set up. So this particular post is now going to be used to control any content on that archive page, which is what we can use. So at the start I said we were going to actually do some outputting of stuff, but actually we need to do something else first. So what we need to do is to put a link in the menu for case studies under here that says archive page, and then we can control the archive page content, and that link is essentially going to go to this particular post. So let's have a look at doing that now. I just want to grab excuse me, another window off screen here, which has got some of my here's some one I made earlier code. So you'll have to just bear with me while I have a look on this screen. Again, if you've got any questions while I'm going on, then please do ask them. I'll do my best to answer them during the session, and we'll see how far we get. Excuse me. So let me grab this information on here. Post type archives. Let's have a look over here. I always feel I have to talk all the time when I'm on these. Maybe I don't. Maybe I can just be quiet for a minute. We will see. Here we go. Absolutely, Elliot. Apply filters is super critical when you're building plugins, and a must, in my opinion. You need to be adding that to your plugins as much as you can. If not for anyone else, then for you to use yourself. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is put the menu item on here. So let's flip back to our code, and I think we'll do this in a separate file, and I think we'll call that admin menus. Oops, or admin menu. Let's put admin menu.php. Let's stick it in the include folder, and then okay. So controls. Again, just trying to get in some good habits, commenting code. I think that's always extremely useful. So then we're going to have a function that is going to add our admin. So let's say add post type admin menu items. And we'll hook that into I think it's the admin menu action, which is the action we use to add stuff to the menu, aptly named, of course. And then we're hooking my function in. So basically, when this hook fires, run this function, which is here. Interesting question for you, actually, is like, do you put the add admin or add action? Do you put the add action or the apply filters or add filters, above or below your functions? I don't know. I've seen it done both ways. I kind of like to declare the function and then say, right, hook it into WordPress. Whereas I know some sort of like hook it into WordPress and then declare the function. I guess either way works fine. It's just I just wondered which one you do. And then I don't think we'll need to give it priority because it's going to be 10. I don't think that matters. I don't think we'll need to give it priority, but we will see. So the first thing I want to do in here is get the options for this plugin. So essentially, that's those options which is going to store which post ID is related to which post type. Now we've done that obviously on here, so I'm just going to do the old copy paste job, which is this one. And then we need to probably check that is not empty. So if we have some options, which we should have some options because obviously we've registered them when we did the plugin. So if that is not empty, EAP options. Mark says the same as me. Declare it and then hook it into. I agree. That's the right way of doing it, definitely. But if you do it differently, it's fine. So if it's not empty, I suppose we better check it's an array as well. Again, why wouldn't it be an array? I don't know, but I guess that's the point of coding. You kind of assume the worst and make sure your code is going to work with that. So if it is not empty, we've got some stuff in there, and it's an array, then what we need to do is to check whether, I suppose we need to loop, don't we? We need to loop through the post types now that are in there. So if you remember, when we created this, is it over here? We've got a post types element and a taxonomies element. We're gonna worry about the post types for this element. So we just need to loop through that part of the array. So let's do that on here. So we need to loop through the post. Can't type and talk. So that'll be something like for each EAP options post types. Was it types or type? Types. So for each post types as post type, and then let's just dump the post type out. Yeah, Elliot says uses a class to define all hooks. I am not a class-based developer, I'm afraid. I know I should be, but I'm not. But yeah, I guess that that works as well. So that hopefully is going to dump some stuff out at the top of the screen. Let's have a look. Boom, there we go. So it's dumped out the ID of the, presumably, let's go to here, yeah, 426. So that's the ID of this particular post, which is good. How do I know which post type it is, though? That's important. Let's just dump out options, see what that looks like. That's it, post types, case study. So I wonder if I need to... I wonder if I need to use that little app I was using before, and I can actually see what I'm dumping out. Do I still have it on the machine? Yeah, I do. Let's see if that works. If I make this slightly narrower, and then we can like stick that over there. Has it loaded? There it is. I think it just did. Ray, wasn't it? I think it was just Ray. And then, do I have to dump it out, or does it dump it itself? I'm not sure. Let me just try doing that one. I can't type. $EAP options. Then if we go to that one, refresh. That still does it there, doesn't it? Why does it do null there then? Oh, I don't know. No, wrong one. So I'm just trying to make it so I can see it, because obviously when you're in the admin it gets all covered up by this bit. There we go, that's better. So here, oh, that's interesting. What have we got that there? Interesting. Post types. So we've got an array, we've got case study is the name. So that's the key, and then that's the ID. Okay, so what I need to do is to go and do a little bit of a change here. So I need to do post type, which is the key, and then the post ID is, funnily enough, the post ID. So that's like that. Okay, so now I can then think about adding my menu. So I can do add menu item for this post type. So I think it's add it'll be a sub-menu, won't it? Because, is it sub-menu or sub-menu page? That's the one. And then that'll have a lot of parameters, no doubt. It annoys me how it never puts the semicolon at the end. So, the first parameter, is that going to show me? Yes, it is the parent slug, which I believe will be, yeah, the post type, and then append. I'm looking in the little thing at the bottom, you probably can't see it. But I'm looking at the, what do you call that, status bar at the bottom? I'm looking to see that what the URL is. So it'll be edit.php !post type equals, and then the post type that we're inside the loop with. So let's do that. So it'll be edit.php !post _ type equals, and then it will be the post type, which is that. I wonder if we should sanitize that. Don't know, probably, but I'll not do it. Then it is the, what are we up to next? Parent slug, page title, and the menu title. So let's make those translatable as well. So this will be, they can both be the same actually. Archive page, and then what is our text domain? It's editable -archive -pages, and then we can copy that for the next one because it can be the same page title as menu title. Then it's the capability and then the slug. So the capability, who'd want to be able to do this? Anyone that can edit posts, maybe? Certainly not just admins. Yeah, if you can edit posts, I guess you might want to be able to do this. So that's the capability that you want to be able to do that. And then here is going to be the slug of the page that you want to actually link to. So this will be the edit page for this particular post ID. So we can kind of grab that from here just to get the format. So that's this one, isn't it? So it's going to be that, and then I'm going to replace that with the post ID that's dynamic. So let's do that now. And then this middle bit will be like that. Now that's in an address, isn't it? So I guess that's always going to be a positive number. So let's make it one. So that's good. And then what's the last? Is there a last argument or not? Position. Oh no, function. But I don't have a function because it's already done. So I wonder what you put for that. Is there a default? Function. I've got a feeling it's null. Okay, and then we'll save that. We've nothing to dump out, have we? Yeah, I'm with you, Mark. I just keep the function and hook together. I know, was it Ross saying, it's the all actions that listed at the start of a file. I don't know. I sometimes like that as well, actually. I must admit, when I see that in code, I think, that's quite neat and tidy, but I'm not so sure. I maybe experiment with that. We'll see. Anyway, right, so here we go. So let's refresh this and see it break. Never works first time, does it? There we go. Oh. Right, so what we should see is case studies. Aha, archive page. And this should link us to the same post. Click. It's going to work. Yay. Oh, yep, there we go. So what we've now got is an archive page that we can control on this particular post type. So whatever we do in here, well, obviously it won't work at the moment because we need to code that in, but whatever we do on this page, we can then spit that out on the archive somewhere. Obviously the title will go where the title goes on the archive page, and then we'll possibly do something with blocks, we'll see. So that's kind of that sort of working. Now, once you've got that working, you don't want to show this to the user, the archive pages. So what I'll probably do then is in our post types declaration is set something like has a showing menu maybe? No, yeah, I've got to do there to remove. Showing menu, is that the right one or is that the admin menu? Anyway, so I've set that to false and then go back to the dashboard. That should disappear, that archive pages we want. It does, and then I can still get to it here. Excellent. So let's test this out before we finish today, and we're going to create another post type, and then we're going to see if it works. So let's go into our new plugins folder. Hello, Keith. I hope you are well this afternoon. So we've got our case studies file here, function. Is this big enough for everyone, by the way? Because it's absolutely huge for me, and I'm just going to make it slightly smaller. Just let me know in the comments if that's gone too small. So I'm going to register another post type. It'll copy paste. Let's call this, I don't know, portfolio. It can be pretty much exactly the same. Oh, look, it's got the same icon. HT portfolio item. You wouldn't call it portfolio. Oh, never mind. Doesn't matter for the sake of this. Portfolio items. Case study. Remove that for portfolio, and then we can just go and remove some of these. I know there's. Don't want to dwell on this, but you get the idea. Come on. I'll just call it portfolios for now. I know that makes no sense whatsoever, but. That's the menu name, so that's kind of is the important one, isn't it? Portfolio. I'll leave those blank for now. Title thumbnail editor, let's keep the same as that one, and let's just change that to portfolio. And save. Now, unless I've broken something, which is highly likely, knowing me, when I go and refresh this, I should get a portfolio item here, and I should get an archive page generated for it. Fingers crossed. Refresh the page. Yes. And yes. Has it saved it all correctly? Oh, yes, nice. Beautiful. Portfolio items, that's the name of the post type. Yep, looks to have worked properly. That's good. Just one thing, just to check that that is okay, I'm just going to set that back to true, and I can just have a look at the list of items in the archive pages post type. And that should just have the two items in, and one for portfolio and one for... Ah, it's got it twice. Nightmare. 428 and 429. What was the one that was there? It was 429. Okay, just out of interest then. Back to the same problem. Just out of interest, let's just dump this out and see what's in here. Refresh. And I've only got one now. That's interesting. So it's not creating more and more of them. It wouldn't actually be a problem, but it is a problem. I don't like it. It's not worked properly. Okay. Well, we'll try and debug that. We've done nearly 20 odd minutes now, so I don't want to go on and on and on. I don't want to bore you to tears. But we've kind of got it working. We've got a post for each custom post type that we can now sort of start to integrate with the site's archive files. Let me just bring me back to the front of the display if I can work out how to do that. Hello, there we go. Yeah, so we've got a post for each post type that we can now connect with the archive of that post type. As I said, not quite sure why that's done that twice, but again, it would actually still work, the plugin. I know it's created like an empty post that we're not using, which is not great, don't get me wrong, but it would kind of still work. So in the next video, we'll probably, well, if I can try and fix that, I don't want to debug that on here. I might just have a look, see why it's doing that on off camera, and then perhaps report back to you. But certainly, in the next video, we can try and get that information that you can see on those posts. That's the title and any blocks that we add, and see if we can spit that out on the actual archive for that post type. I'll probably need to create some dummy posts for those post types rather than creating them on the video. Then you're not bored watching me recreating posts. I know someone's going to comment and say, why don't you use such a plugin that just adds dummy posts for you? And if you can, that'd be great. Okay, that's going to be all for me today. Thank you very much for joining us, Elliot, Mark, Ross, and anyone else, Keith, that was hiding in the background and not saying hello. Thanks for joining us, and I will schedule the next one in shortly, and we will see you then. Thanks very much.